let me know where you want to put, hey, Laura.
Which one?
Which one? Which one?
Which?
Achenu. We've been doing it.
Have an extra sheet? Oh, I have this one here.
It's in there, yeah. Rabbi Posen has been doing it, has been putting it before,
Somebody said Orleans.
and that's where Rabbi Isaac put it in. So it doesn't,
But we have, so where have we been doing it?
there we go.
I like it after, before Helena. Or after Helena.
Either way.
I mean, it makes sense.
Unless you're
Connecting it.
like this.
Yes, let's do it.
Perfect. Yeah, last time we clicked on it. Yeah.
Great. It's been really non-stop. Is this tilted more than it used to be?
No,
Or
I
I just,
think so. I think it's just,
okay,
it's just where it is in that. I think it's context.
okay,
It's
all right,
further back, but that's where I feel it.
okay.
Week to week it changes.
Yep.
Between then and here, it changed, it dropped.
The guitar?
Yeah. The temperature is cool, different room, those things make it, you know.
You ready?
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
They say that you never forget how to ride a bicycle, but that is patently false. I used to be a bicycle racer in high school, and there's no way I know how to ride a bike like that anymore. But I won't fall over if I get on a bike. So I say that as an introduction. It's been a while. I'm trying to remember, what do we do here?
Right to left, right to left.
Right to left, thank you, Canner. But we always begin just by bringing in and welcoming, symbolically, metaphorically, and spiritually, the angels of Shabbat. So we'll turn to page 5 for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashavet, Malachei Elyon. המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Yasher Koach Cantor. You know, when you said right to left, I was reminded I was down, of course, in Southern Oregon during Purim, and I went under the radar. I didn't announce who I was. I mean, I said David, but I went to the Chabad because I knew they would have a full reading of the Megillah, which he did in like 30 minutes or something. But he had read it earlier, so he didn't want to say the blessings. So he just had me recite the blessings, and I did it sort of in the news, like, Baruch. And he said, wow, you seem like you have some skills. I said, oh, I don't know. We're going to continue page 11, Lechu Neranena.
Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena l'Adonai. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, לצור אישנו, נקדמה פניו ותודה. Naria lo, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu, 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 lechu neranena, lechu, 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 lechu neranena. Ki el gadol Adonai, ומלך גדול על כל אלוהים, אשר בידו מחקרי הארץ, ותועפות ההרים לו. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה, או לכו, לכו, לכו נרננה, אשר לא היה והוא עשהו, ויבש ידיו יצרו. בואו נשתחווה ונכרע, נברכה לפני אדוני עושנו. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה, לכו, 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 לכו נרננה, כי הוא אלוהינו, ואנחנו אמר איתו, וצאן ידו, היומים בקולו תשמעו. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה, לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. אל תקשו לבבכם כי מריבה, כיום המסע במדבר, אשר ניסוני אבותיכם, בחנוני גם ראו פועלי. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה, או לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. הרביים שנקול בדור ומערם טוען לבבם, והם לא ידעו דרכי, אשר נשבעתי באפי מבואן אל מנוחתי.
As we turn to page 21 for Mizmor LeDavid, I'm having this moment of feeling that the psalm is almost too strong. This speaks about the power of nature, and in the winter here, during a big storm, after branches have fallen down, it really speaks to us and is, in literature and poetry, indicative of what we're experiencing. But it has been such a beautiful day that we have to hear God in the quiet, easy weather and beauty of a perfect spring day here. Page 21.
Okay. If you see me coughing, I had some spicy, fun stuff a little before the kids were at a birthday party. They're at a birthday party now, and there were some hors d'oeuvres, and they're delicious, and they're tickling my throat. I also say that to the rabbi as he's wondering, I don't want anyone to think, oh no, he's sick. I got a tickle. Mizmor leDavid, habul Adonai bnei, habul Adonai kavod va'od, habul Adonai kevod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai be'adra kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod yirim, Adonai al mayim, mayim rabim, kol Adonai v'koach, kol Adonai ve'adar, kol Adonai shover arazim, meshaber Adonai et arzei albanon, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון וסריון כמו בן רמים, כל אדוני חוצם להבות אש, כל אדוני יכין מדבר, יכין אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יחולל איילות ויחשוף יערות ובחלוף כולו אומר כבוד, אדוני על המבול ישב וישב, אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך כמו בשלום. איי 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 איי
We're going to continue Lecha Dodi on page 23 as we step out of Psalms, biblical Psalms, and into a moment into this medieval compilation sourced from biblical and rabbinic fragments by Shlomo Alkabetz. And we'll do the first two stanzas on 23 and the final two stanzas on page 25.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לי בת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי טובי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי, על יד איש פן פצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. אוי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עמסי גאולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated. We'll continue page 27 with the psalm for the day of Shabbat.
Where did I put mine? Okay. No, that's a different one. Un momento. I'm looking for the one I like to do. Not there, not there. I'll just do a quick one. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, ולדור לאדוני ולזמר שמך העליון. אני אגיד לו בקרקע, סליחה.
אמונת הבלזור עלי אסף עלינו ועלי יום יחינון, כי שמחתנו
רשעים מעשרת. שלום אדוני.
כי נבך אדוני, כי נבך יובל. Middle of page 28.
תשמענה אוזני, צדיק אתה יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד ינובון בסבע, דשנים ורעלנים יהיו להגיד, כי ישר אדוני צורי, ולא עוולה כבוד ממלכי ולבש. עדותיך נמנו מאוד, לביתך נא בקודש, אדוני, לאורך ימים.
Thank you, Cantor. Heeding the call. And God called Moses. So begins the book of Leviticus, reminding us that Moses was especially blessed. For throughout his life, he felt called by God to a life of service, right? He was called at the burning bush. On Mount Sinai, God calls Moses several times. And at the tent of meeting, Moses is also called. There are, of course, more than 70 other occasions where God speaks to Moses, but being spoken to is not the same as being called. Callings change us. They often come unexpectedly or inconveniently, which helps explain why many of us resist them when we first hear them. Moreover, a calling reminds us we don't live for ourselves alone. It ties us to a larger purpose beyond personal gain. Oftentimes, heeding a call demands that we sacrifice something of value or even face isolation as we move on to a different track than the one we were on. In this sense, a calling is akin to having children, in which most parents experience this stark divide, a dividing line, right, between before time and after time. The entire focus changes. Most people never experience a sense of calling. According to studies cited by Martin Seligman in his introduction to Being Called, Scientific, Secular, and Sacred Perspectives, 60 to 70% of people don't feel they have a calling. But that also tells us that Moses was not a complete outlier. Over a third of people have heard the call. It also appears that no culture has a monopoly on this either. The distribution of being called is evenly divided across countries and times, which is kind of interesting, right? So I'm in the 40%, and perhaps you are also. But what's unclear to me is why this is not a universal experience. And others have wondered about that as well. Apparently, people are more likely to feel called when they have a clear sense of self or purpose. And that helps explain why younger individuals or those still forming a vocational identity often haven't reached the state yet of hearing a calling. But there are those kids who know from the earliest age as well. Studies also seem to suggest that those who experience high levels of meaning in life, spirituality, or self-efficacy are more likely to report a calling. It's this latter insight that's worth exploring because we find ourselves, I think, in a cultural moment in which so many individuals feel adrift in their own lives and often lacking a sense of agency. I would like to believe that we each have the capacity to foster or enhance these qualities of spirituality, meaning in life, and self-efficacy. Whether or not doing so will lead to a sense of calling is beside the point. For our lives will be better when we nurture our awareness of spirituality, self-efficacy, and meaningfulness. And it reminds me of a quote attributed to Henry Ford: "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right." More than ever, it is especially important that we think we can, for that is the greatest antidote to despair. And given that, I want to share some powerful stories about being called to serve that I had the privilege to hear yesterday morning. On Thursday morning, I attended my second EMO board retreat since joining their board, and Neve Shalom has a long history of cooperation with the Christian-oriented ecumenical ministries of Oregon. So I always feel a little particular honor to be their first Jewish board member. EMO's mission is centered on 3 buckets of activities: partnership with faith communities, organizations, foundations, politicians, right? So that's that partnership. They also engage in advocacy around certain issues, nonpartisan, but that align with their values. And finally, they support and run several community service programs, including the Slavic Oregon Social Services, SAS, SOAR, which is sponsors organized to assist refugees, very much like HIAS, the Hebrew Immigration Aid Society, and finally, Second Home. So each of the directors of these 4 programs updated the board about the impact of their work, illustrating their efficacy through a few vignettes and narratives. So I hope that you'll be inspired by a few that I'd like to share with you. SAS may have a historical focus on individuals from Central and Eastern European and Russian immigrants, but so much of their mission is helping survivors of domestic violence rebuild their lives. This past year, they were able, first time, to provide resettled children an opportunity to choose and receive a holiday gift. And given that these families are barely scraping by with enough food or clothes, these gifts provided a sense of normalcy to the kids. One child who had never before received a meaningful gift was given a microscope. And it seems like a simple thing, but really it's not. Gifts, particularly when we're young, are tangible ways to know that we're loved. But some gifts, like a microscope, also open up unimagined vistas. They beckon us to a previously invisible world. And part of the task for survivors of domestic violence is to find their heroic faith that lets them know a better, invisible future already exists, just waiting for their leap of faith. That leap of faith allows them to see their lives and possibilities differently. I suspect that that microscope will change this child's life. The second set of stories comes from Jenny Hale, the director of Second Home. Started in 2010, Second Home connects volunteer host homes with unaccompanied high school students experiencing homelessness. It's not part of the foster care system. Rather, it's a relationship-based program where kids know that they belong and are wanted. And for some, that's the first experience in their life of that. Some of these relationships last for years after the students have graduated high school. These young adults were asked what they found valuable about their Second Home experience, and the answers they gave were so potent. One said, "My home provider showed me how I can expect people to treat me." Let that sink in. That one insight promises that that individual will not allow herself to be mistreated going forward and will break that cycle. Another child said it was the first time he was able to sleep for more than a few hours because he finally feels safe. The wishes these kids express remind us of how many blessings we each take for granted. One said, "I want to sit down together for dinner so I know what that feels like." Another one asked to be shown how to make a bed properly. A bed. A third said, "I want to walk in the door and have someone ask me how my day was and actually care." In short, these high school students who had experienced homelessness merely wanted to know what it is like to live in a home filled with love. And there are currently 16 youth waiting for a home provider. So if these stories inspire you to consider becoming a home provider, I have some handouts you can pick up at the end of the service. In hearing these stories, I couldn't help but think of Leviticus again, for the call is not reserved for prophets like Moses. It's extended to anyone willing to step forward. In the book of Leviticus, although God calls Moses, it is on behalf of each of us. As it says, "Speak to the Israelite people and say to them, when any of you presents an offering, you shall bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting for acceptance in your behalf before God. You shall lay a hand upon the head of the burnt offering, that it may be acceptable in your behalf in expiation for you." A sense of calling, you see, is not merely an answer for how to use our very limited time. It's an act of connection, a gift that sanctifies us and those we touch. It's a recognition that we owe a debt to the world. It's an organizing principle that reminds us our lives matter, make a difference, and are infused with meaning. Sometimes the world tries to break our hearts, convincing us that life is chaotic, meaningless, and beyond our control. But that is not true. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. The difference comes down to whether or not we will heed the call. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Thanks. We'll rise for the Baruch, called the worship, page 39.
Baruchu et Adonai mevorach.
Baruch Adonai mevorach leolam vaed.
Baruch Adonai mevorach leolam vaed. Baruch Adonai melech haolam. פני אור, ומעביר יום מביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המרעיף הערבים.
You know, we're going to turn to page 40, which is this reminder that we don't, unless we've had a direct experience of it, it's so easy to forget that the world is just macerated, it's filled with love everywhere we turn. It requires us to have that experience, to recognize it. And that's kind of what Ahavat Olam does. It tells us that even the rules and laws that give us boundaries so we know how to exist are all part of that divine love for us. Page 40.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת. תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשובנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, נשיח בחוקיך. תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך אלה. אם שמוע תשמעו אותה ישר. לאהבה. ושמתם דברי אלה. ויאמר אדוני משה לאמור, דבר בני ישראל מתעש, ציצית. לא תטורו אחרי מן תזכרו בסופו של אדוני אלוהיך לכם אמת.
44.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם, משה מרים בני ישראל, החלו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה לי הנוף, ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, יפדה אדוני את יעקב, גאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
I sometimes feel like I have no right to introduce the next piece on 45, Hashkivenu. God, please allow us to sleep peacefully. But I do recite it sometimes at 3:30 a.m., and you can too if you're up at that point. The intention is always there, regardless of the outcome.
And I want to mention, if some of you have noticed already online, that I finally have a professionally produced recording of this that's been that I released today on Spotify, Apple Music, and also YouTube. It should be in the email, one of the emails today, and it'll be also on Monday. Please check it out. There's a nice video there, and lots of people have asked me, for something, and it's out there today. And so one of these days I'm going to do a different melody, but tonight's not that night. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים, לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, 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 ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, לפניך, והושיענו למען שמך, והגן בעדנו, והסר מעלינו אויב נבל וחרב, ורב יגון נשכיבנו לשלום, שלום, והסר שטן מלפנינו, לפנינו, לפנינו, ומאחרינו, אחרינו, 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 ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו, 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 כי אל שומרנו, 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 ומצילנו אתה, כי אל המלך חנונה ורחום אתה, השכיבנו, השכיבנו לשלום, שלום, ושמור צאתנו בואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו בכל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Rise, Vishamru, page 46.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבה וינפש. יתגדל ויתקדש שמר רבה, כמה דיברה קירותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. ישמר רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ותדר ותעלה ותהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה בנחמתה תמירן ועלמה ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו
Thanks, Cantor. We're about to celebrate those who are celebrating something lovely, as with this Simcha Shabbat, whether it's birthdays, anniversaries, milestones. We'll pause for a moment of Kabbalat, sort of sacred intention of tuning ourselves for joy, for smachot. Because each Simcha, it's more than just like a date on the calendar. It's a quiet affirmation, right, that our life is unfolding, that we're still here, the time moves forward with purpose, that each of us is connected to a greater story. And as I mentioned in the sermon, right, the book of Leviticus begins with, "And God called to Moses." So sometimes we receive a really big call, it's life-changing, and other times it's small, like a nudge of gratitude, a whisper that reminds us to mark a blessing, to show up for one another, to rejoice. So I want to call up those who are observing some sort of simcha, up here with Cantor and me, because we want to honor these moments, your birthdays, anniversaries, joyful occasions, as sacred callings in their own right. Because they're called to celebrate, to remember, to give thanks. So if you're marking, come on up. And Cantor, will you lead us in the ancient Birkat Kohanim? If you're comfortable, would you share with us what your simcha is? And facing you guys, we'll go right to left. Right, Cantor?
Yes.
Joe, go ahead.
Today?
Yes.
Yes.
Your birthday? Today?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Tomorrow. Okay.
Happy birthday tomorrow.
But for birthdays, I meant the simcha, you're giving me the dates, which is great, but now we all have to send them flowers, so be careful.
Anniversary.
Anniversary, my best to you and Perry.
Birthday in a few weeks.
All right.
Birthday in a couple days.
Yeah.
Birthday. So I'm celebrating the fact that my daughter Lee is having a baby on April 23rd.
Oh,
And my husband's birthday's the next day.
nice.
I had a couple of them. Turning 40.
So, this particular group, and I know because I'm married to one of them, we really need to give them very special blessings because, there's cake outside, but if you're up here, a lot of the times your birthday falls during Passover and there ain't no cake worth eating. So we are so grateful that you're here tonight when we can still enjoy a little bit of that together. Let's all join Kenna and Jackie on her.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה
Protect you, may God's countenance shine upon you, and may Adonai bestow kindness upon you. May Adonai's countenance be lifted toward you, and may God grant you all peace and some cake.
Amen.
Ken Yehi
Yehi Ratzon.
Mazel Tov. Grab a seat again.
All right, Kaddish Shalem.
As they make their way back to their seats, we'll turn to page 54 for sort of this end paragraph of the Kabbalat Shabbat Mariv service, Kaddish Shalem.
יגדל מקדש שמי רבה, ועל מה דיברה קירותי במכמל חוטא, וחייכון ומכון וחיית כל בית ישראל, בהגלה בזמן קריב מרו, אמן. יש מרבה מברך, ליעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך ושתברך יתפאר ויתרומם מנסה ותדן ותעלה ויתעלל שמתו ותשבריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ומרו אמן תתקבל סוטאון ובתאון לכל ישראל קודם אבוהון דבישמיה מרו אמן יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו וכל ישראל מרו אמן עושה שלום ממרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל וכל יושבי תבל ויאמרו אמן.
All right, and we will continue now with the Kiddush on page 55, so let's rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ועצבנו בשבת קודשו באהבה ורצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי באנו ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. We'll remain standing. Aleinu, page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. על כן אלוהינו לתת עוזך. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We are going to bring our hearts and minds towards those held captive with the recitation or singing of Achenu. You can find it on the service order handout sheet.
Achenu kol bet Yisrael, Achenu kol bet Yisrael, הנתונים בצרה ובשביה, העומדים בין בים ובין ביבשה. המקום ירחם, ירחם עליהם, ויוציאם מצרה לרווחה, ומאפלה לאורה, ומשיבור לגאולה, שתה בגלה ובזמן קריב. המקום ירחם, ירחם עליהם, ויוציאם מצרה לרווחה, ומאפלה לאורה, משיבור לגאולה, שתה בגלה ובזמן קריב. ונאמר אמן.
And to link that to our yard sites and memorial, a little poem by Emily Dickinson called Hope is a Thing with Feathers. Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could have bashed the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. We have hope for the release of captives. We have hope that we will see our loved ones who are no longer here again, or at least that by reciting their names and the Kaddish that we get to join them here in memory. So if you're observing a yard site or in a time of mourning, I'll ask that you rise. I want to just mention that we're thinking of Betya Tenser as well, who's passed in recent weeks, and I'll ask people who are standing if you're willing to share who you're reciting Kaddish for. And to all you at home as well, of course, we have the sheet, should be connected with the streaming link with all the names as well. So my condolences to each of you, and I hope that this recitation of Kaddish that we'll recite collectively will bring a little bit of comfort during difficult moments such as this. So together, Yit Gadal v'Yit Gadash Shemei Rabbah v'Yalma Divra Kirutei v'Yamlich Machutei Mechayechon v'Yamechon v'Chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala v'Zman Kariv v'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarak Leolam Ulamei Almaya Yitbarak v'Yishtabach v'Yitpa'ar v'Yitromam v'Yitnaseh v'Yitadar v'Yitaler v'Yitalal Shmei D'Kudsha B'richu L'Ela Min Kol B'Yachata V'Shirata Tush B'Chata V'Nechemata Damiram V'Alma V'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places bring a little bit of peace and comfort and strength and perseverance and resilience to all those of us in our times of mourning and in the anniversaries of death as well. So with that, I guess we have some announcements.
We gotta think something up. There's a certain holiday coming up. You know what that song is? It's coming up.
Yes.
And there are things
Yeah,
related to it.
and related to that, yes, we have the online link up for some time for selling your chametz, so please do that, and I'll make sure that that gets sold properly. It needs to be done on Friday. It's a little bit different because Passover falls on Shabbat, so fast of the firstborn is on Thursday morning, because you don't observe a fast on Shabbat or holidays, so it gets pushed a little bit earlier. That'll be 7. There'll be the last of the bagels at that point, at least for a week. So that's always meaningful for folks.
By the way, I created a congregational, a playlist, a music playlist for, on Apple Music and Spotify. If you wanted to listen in the car or at home, Passover songs for you and or the family, check out CNS, look up CNS Passover music and you'll find it.
That's great.
There's going to be a link in the e-blast, I think, on Monday.
Yeah. Still a few more days to sign up for the second night community Seder. So please come. We're going to have a fun time with that. If you are looking for home hospitality, say for the first night or something, please reach out. Lisa is still trying to place people, but certainly we would love to have people come for that. There's an end to Passover, though it's a little bit hard to imagine before we've even started. And for the third year now, we're going to have our Mimuna celebration on Monday, April 21st. The Sephardic communities understood the best way to mark the end of Passover was to eat every type of chametz with as much sugar and honey as possible. And just like on Shabbat, it has no calories when you do it for a ritual purpose like this. Upcoming Scholar in Residence, May 9th through 11th. It is with Amir Tibon. He was our second Scholar in Residence here. He wrote an extremely difficult, beautiful, and important book called The Gates of Gaza. I read it while over my sabbatical. He will be here. It is about his experience when Hamas invaded Israel on October 7th. But it's also a book that goes back and forth, a little bit like Moby Dick, between current events and the history or the technicalities of it. So he provides us with really important background to the conflict, Bibi Netanyahu's role, all of it's a beautiful research and very fair book. So I hope that you'll join us for that. On Sunday, April 27th, Sisterhood Torah Fundraiser, Summer of Love. That'll be 5:30 to 9. Do you need bell bottoms to attend? Yes, okay. Amazon will provide them, I am sure, or maybe you can trade the Afikoman for your own pet if you speak to your host ahead of time. That is on Sunday, April 27th. And again, I always encourage people, because these are all just coming at us quickly at the end of a service, and you're thinking about cake or dinner, to go to the website and look. There's so much stuff going on. I'll get to you in a second, Cantor. Shivers.
Check the emails as well.
Right, exactly. And then Family and Youth Planning, CNS Family Camp, April 24th through 27th. Cantor Shivers. I am still just getting back from sabbatical, but I believe that is correct, yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit strange with that, so, and then Friday morning after the, right, yeah. So,
Speaking of getting back from sabbatical, welcome back, Rabbi.
thank you.
Baruch haba, it's good to have you back, am I
Baruch
right?
Nimsa, yeah. And we are conclude.
We have an announcement.
Oh. Okay, and I will be doing that for my siyum as well in the Fast of the Firstborn. So lots of opportunities to hear it. It really is. It's a strong and important work. So we will now conclude with Yigdal on page
62. 62. יגדל אלוהים חיל וישתבח, נמצא ונת אל המציאותו, אחד בן יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון בין ראשית לראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורא גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, לא קם בישראל כמשה עוד, נביא ומביט את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמואל, על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יחן יפעל ולא ימיר, דתו לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע זה תרנו, מבין סוף דבר בקדמתו, גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרישתו, ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו, לפדות מחכה קץ ישועתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי השם תהילתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי השם תהילתו.
Cantor, if I can ask you to make motzi, that'd be great. Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המוציא לחם מן הארץ.
Amen. Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. And it's a well-known dictum, you need to have your unsweet bread before your sweet cake. So come grab a piece.
All right. Shabbat shalom, Rabbi. Bye. Shabbat shalom.
You didn't finish the Kabbalat story. Did you come out?
No, I just wanted to be a regular Jew in the pew, like you. You'll know me eventually.
You already have a place to live?
Uncle Steve, we're shaking bacon. I don't shake bacon. Is that, can you do those 4 6 directions? Or? Sure.
I am hoping to have about 5 minutes before you leave.
Okay. Who are you working on it with?
Well, my evening, and of course, she's supporting me. So,
So George has announced that he must schedule his bar mitzvah before you leave.
Okay.
Because if not for you, we wouldn't be here.
I would be honored. That'd be fantastic.
So if there's a possibility that,
Yeah, let's call Cantor on Monday. We gotta, right away, we gotta get on the calendar if it's gonna happen, okay? Okay. And to push it back, let's, buy yourself.
thank you.
let me go speak to the kid.